After suffering defeat at the hands of his father Darth Vader and losing a hand of his own in The Empire Strikes Back, Luke Skywalker appears in Return of the Jedi with a green lightsaber, very different from the blue one that he used previously. So how did Luke get his new weapon, and where did he get the crystal for it? Well, I'm about to break down just that, so smash that like button and subscribe button and let's get right into it. And before we get into it, I just want to mention our brand new Star Force 1 Discord server where you'll get plenty of exclusive content and you'll be part of an amazing community who love Star Wars and speculating and analyzing everything that comes out, from comics to books to games, everything like that. You'll love it, so join. The link is in the description down below. In the months following his encounter with his father, Luke was with Lando, Leia and friends when they came under attack by droids. After losing his hand, Luke's connection with the Force was going through a slump, with him losing confidence in all of his abilities. Due to this, he resorted to only using a yellow lightsaber which he found, which is a story of its own, without employing the use of the Force. If you guys want me to make a video about the yellow saber and the story behind it, let me know in the comments down below. As he makes his way through the droids, searching for one of the sacred Jedi texts, he loses his focus and is grabbed by one of them. As he stutters in disbelief, afraid of losing the book forever, he hears a loud crack and hiss as the droid tightens its grip, crushing not only Luke's mechanical hand, but his lightsaber as well. Just when all hope seems lost and droids start surrounding the team, with one just about to kill Luke, he closes his eyes and reaches out with the Force, exerting all of his energy to lift the droids and destroy them. Eventually, the crew makes their way back to the base safely, with Luke getting his hand repaired on the way home and R2 doing his best to fix the crushed saber. Although Luke is grateful for the droid's effort, he says that if he's going to face Vader again, and he senses that he will need a new lightsaber, one that he'd need to construct all by himself. After taking apart his yellow lightsaber, Luke examines the crystal and reflects on how little he knows about them. He knows about the basics, that they power the saber, so every Jedi has one, but nobody taught him any of the details, and the sacred text he has just talks about the philosophy behind them instead of any practical guides. It mentions Ilum, the planet where the Jedi would carry out the tradition known as the Gathering, a ritual-like place where younglings would need to face their deepest fears in order to earn guidance to a kyber crystal which called to them. Luke checked the planet out in the past, but found it crawling with Imperials who were stripping the planet's resources for the Death Star and other top-secret projects. And just in case you didn't know, Starkiller Base is actually built out of Ilum. So, spoiler I guess, but if you haven't seen it by now, The Force Awakens, you're a bit late. Luke goes on to say that Yoda and Obi-Wan had never taught him about any of this stuff, probably because he already had a lightsaber, the one Obi-Wan picked up from Anakin all of those years ago on Mustafar. But that saber really wasn't Luke's. He didn't work for it. It was just given to him. And neither is the yellow one that he came across recently. There's supposed to be a connection between a kyber crystal and its owner, but Luke never felt that. He just felt like the sabers were tools, and good ones at that. But it was time for him to advance in becoming a Jedi by having something of his own. The sacred texts mention some other planets, so Luke heads out to find the first one, Christophsis. You might remember this place from the Clone Wars, a very nice throwback for all of us, and although it's come under Imperial control, they aren't very active there. After a run-in with the locals, Luke comes across Dr. Kuata, someone who has spent so much time around the Kyber that it started to have a certain effect on him, and he talks to the crystals on a necklace that he's wearing. Without Luke telling the doctor, he knows that there's a problem with the crystal and inspects it. Kuata says he can fix the crystal, but that he needs Luke to do something for him first. As he tosses the saber back to him, he announces that the crystal told him that Luke is a Jedi, suggesting that he himself is Force sensitive and can communicate with the crystal. He gives Luke a basic lesson in lightsabers and the parts which form them, explaining that when there is an intimate connection between a saber's crystal and its owner, they can feel as if the blade is moving by itself due to them being in perfect harmony. Luke says that he's never felt anything like that, to which the doctor explains that it's because he came across the crystal instead of choosing it. Kuata gives him a red crystal and asks him to connect with it so that he, someone who can't achieve that level of connection, can learn about what's within it. When Luke does exactly that, he sees a strange vision mirroring what Vader saw when he entered the dark side portal on Mustafar in an earlier issue. As Luke ignites a saber, he is kicked out of the vision and doesn't know what to make of it. Kuata notes down what transpired and gives Luke another crystal. This time it's completely clear, a raw one that he came across recently. Luke connects with it, and this time he enters a floating portion of Dagobah with Grandmaster Yoda sitting on a tree trunk. Luke says that he knows none of this is real, but asks Yoda regardless about why he hasn't replied to Luke's many calls for help. Yoda says that although Luke has been calling, deep down he didn't want to talk to Yoda, and so he never appeared. He tells Luke that until he makes a personal choice, one detached entirely from the Force, he can never be a Jedi. Luke gets tired of the speech and quickly tries to leave, but his connection with the Force has dropped again, so Yoda uses the Force to disconnect his apprentice, revealing that this entire scene was actually real all along. Obi-Wan's Force Ghost appears next to Yoda saying, "Still, after all he has learned, he is not ready." To which Yoda says this is true, but that Luke made a connection with him half a galaxy away, True, he didn't do it on purpose, but the fact that he had done it at all was noteworthy. When the time comes, he will be ready, Yoda says. As Luke opens his eyes, seeing that the once clear crystal has turned green in his hands. Dr. Kuwata had succeeded in fixing Luke's saber, but the ambitious Jedi took the green crystal away, saying that he'd need it when the time came for him to construct his own lightsaber. He also takes the red crystal, sensing its pain and hoping to one day heal it. If you know anything about Ahsoka's lightsaber, you'll know exactly what he's going to do there. Let me know in the comments if you want to see how Ahsoka got her white lightsabers. From here, Luke collected some parts which he thought might come in handy in building a lightsaber. Believe it or not, he left it until the last second to put them together, connecting to the famous deleted scene from Return of the Jedi. Luke arrived on Tatooine just a few moments before rescuing Han and the crew from Jabba the Hutt. He sat in isolation within a dark cave and focused on putting together the pieces. Although he awkwardly struggled, he eventually figured it out and ignited the saber, revealing a stunning green blade. That's all in the Disney canon, so let's take a quick look at how he got his saber in Legends, which is a much simpler story. Sometime before Return of the Jedi, Luke revisited Tatooine and went through Obi-Wan's belongings in his old hut. While he largely found nothing of interest, he came across a clearly aged, leather-bound book consisting of traditional exercises and exercises for Jedi. The book was opened through a thumbprint clasp, and once Luke opened it, he realized that there was a contraption which would have set the book up in flames if he wasn't specifically Luke that had opened it. It was almost as if Obi-Wan had written it in the years looking after Luke, planning that one day he'd give it to him. As well as exercises and information for Luke to carry out, the book also contained steps to create a lightsaber. Finding a nearby furnace, Luke followed the steps as closely as he could, waiting for hours and hours for the furnace to outpour what he had been seeking, a synthetic crystal. Lightsabers were meant to carry 3 of these, but Luke could barely manage just the one and was afraid of messing things up. As it was, he barely had any confidence in the parts that he'd brought together from across the galaxy. Despite his trials and lack of confidence, which even took him to the point where he feared his weapon exploding and killing him, Luke had successfully put together his green lightsaber and set out on an adventure with his friends. Before Disney revealed the details behind Luke's green saber, which we just went over, and the crystal that he used, a popular fan theory was that he got Qui-Gon Jinn's crystal from Obi-Wan's hut. This came about because of an Easter egg that Yoda's blanket that we see in Return of the Jedi is actually Qui-Gon Jinn's cloak, which made fans think of just how far the old Jedi Master's legacy might stretch. Knowing that in Legends, Luke found a guide on how to construct a lightsaber in Obi-Wan's hut, fans theorized that maybe he'd go there in canon too, and find a similar kind of guide, and alongside it would be Qui-Gon's crystal, wrapped up in a cloth or in a small chest of its own. Although that fan theory never came true, I really like the idea, and I think it would have been a great way to connect the original trilogy with the prequels, but with Disney just giving us their explanation, that theory has been put to rest for good. So that's both the Legends, canon, and fan explanations on how Luke Skywalker got his green lightsaber seen in Return of the Jedi. What version of events do you guys prefer, and do you think that Disney did a good job telling us this information with these comics? I mean, it's information we've waited for so many years, so the anticipation leading us here has definitely taken on some hits. Be sure to let me know if you guys want to see the videos I mentioned earlier, and if you want to see more videos explaining things like this, since the comic is quite new to Disney canon, tell me in the comments down below. Drop a like and subscribe, join the Discord server, and I'll see you in the next video.